Many 49ers fans have this question: who's actually going to start for the San Francisco 49ers opposite of Nick Bosa on the defensive line? For years, they've had a strong defensive line, but do they have someone like Nick Bosa who can take the next step and really kick their pass rushing game into 2019 levels? I mean, they went out and got Javon Hargrave, but who's going to be the opposite of Nick Bosa, the D Ford? And in this video, I'm going to go over Drake Jackson, or as I like to call him, the player that's going to absolutely shock the NFL world, because he didn't contribute a lot as a rookie, but that's commonplace in San Francisco when you have players like Aaron Banks not playing as a rookie, or even Talanoa Hufanga didn't play all of his rookie year. So they have a track record of developing rookies, letting them sit on the bench, and then coming in their second year and absolutely dominating. And last year, the conversation was who is going to start at safety. Everyone laughed at the idea of Talanoa Hufanga starting. A lot of people were also super nervous about letting Aaron Banks start at guard. Regardless, it seems that General Manager John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan's coaching staff really knows how to get these first-year players ready to start their second year. And a coach that I really think knows how to coach up his players is Kris Kocurek. He's arguably one of the best defensive line coaches in the league, and that's why so many players want to come and play for him. He resurrects plenty of careers, and I think he can jumpstart Drake Jackson's career into the potential it can be. So in this video, I hope to cover Drake Jackson's background, where he went to high school, to his college career, what his NFL Combine experience was like, what scouts were saying about him at the time, and how he looks to impact the 49ers defense going forward. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. Drake Jackson was born April 12th, 2001 in Corona, California. He currently is 6'4" and weighs around 275 pounds. Drake Jackson started his career at Centennial High School in Corona, California. As a sophomore, he had 29 tackles and 2 deflections. As a junior, he continued to improve, having 28 tackles, 6 sacks, and interception. He was named Cal High Sports All-State Juniors first team. As his senior, he continued to improve even more. He had 27 tackles, including 5 for loss, with 3.5 sacks, plus 6 deflections, 3 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown in 2018. He made the 2018 Prep All-Star American. And they weren't the only one noticing Drake Jackson's immense skill. 24/7 Sports also noticed. They had him rated as a 4-star recruit, and he had offers from some of the following schools: USC, Arizona State, Illinois, Oregon, Washington, among others. Ultimately, Drake Jackson decided to start his college career at USC and enrolled in 2019. And starting in 2019, Jackson's skill was on full display. And this was a year that really left many scouts wondering if he's the next great edge rusher. Jackson made a phenomenal start, starting 11 games where he played all but Colorado and Oregon. He had 46 tackles, including a team best 11.5 for loss for 60 yards lost, and a team high 5.5 sacks, minus 44 yards on those sacks, plus 3 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and a safety for his freshman year. And then I don't know what the coaches were thinking, but in 2020, they took Drake Jackson out of his defensive end spot and kind of misaligned him and put him in an outside linebacker spot. Overall in 2020, he started all 6 games and he had 20 tackles, including 5.5 for loss for a negative 27 yards on those. He also had 2 sacks for minus 17 yards. He also made an interception. He was named 2020 All Pac-12 second team. Drake Jackson's third year would be his final as well at USC in 2021. He started as an outside linebacker and appeared in 11 games, all but California, and started 9 times, all but UCLA, BYU, and California. He had 37 tackles, including a team high 8 for loss. He also had 5 sacks, plus 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 1 deflection. And just like that, Drake Jackson's college career was over, and he was enrolled into the NFL Scouting Combine in 2022. And this is what the NFL had to say about Drake Jackson at the time. Jackson lacks play strength, but has the frame to add muscle and mass. He's a loose-limbed, restless pass rusher with the activity level to find angles and openings in both his primary and secondary rush. However, he lacks successful counters to do it consistently against strong tackles. Jackson also lacks the take on toughness as a functional anchor needed to hold up at the point on the rundowns. He has the developmental rush potential, but he needs major upgrade in grit and technique against the run. And I think this is something that makes him such a great fit with Kris Kocurek, who can really hammer down these developmental points for Drake Jackson because he's crazy athletic. Some of his strengths were athletic with long strides in space. This guy can do backflips. I mean, there was a reason why his freshman year coming out, so many people thought he was maybe the next great defensive end. During his career at USC, he kind of got stagnated in his growth a little bit because they played him out of position. I think he would have been much more effective at defensive end throughout his career there. And the San Francisco 49ers really liked Drake Jackson because they picked him in the 2nd round with the 61st overall pick. During his rookie year, he didn't have the most eye-popping stats, but they also weren't horrible. He had a combined 14 tackles, he had 3 sacks, and he also had an interception. Pretty impressive. And as I mentioned before, Drake Jackson was a developmental prospect. He needed to work on his run defense, as well as working on his hand placement at times during pass rush situations. And working under Kris Kocurek, I think he'll take the necessary steps. Along with refining his body, he'll probably become a much more stout run defender, putting him in spot to compete for the job opposite Nick Bosa. And that's actually what I think Drake Jackson's going to be able to do. I think he's going to be able to win out the starting job and make a real impact on pass rush downs, and couple him with Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa. That's nightmare fuel for opposing teams' quarterbacks. But hey, those are just my thoughts on the San Francisco 49ers defensive end situation. Now that I gave my thoughts, I want to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a lot if you subscribe and like this video. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the support.